It's the Rundown Tuesday, June 2nd, brought to you by Tommy John. Tommy John is the revolutionary underwear company and clothing brand that your dad will love. Father's Day is coming. Don't get your dad some lame-ass gift. Get him some comfortable clothes. Get him the softest, most breathable base layer he's ever worn. And right now, Tommy John is offering the best Father's Day deal ever with 25% off the entire site. That's including easy-to-gift sets, so you can buy it all in one shot, or you can order straight from your phone and get it delivered right to your dad's door. Whether you're in the hunt for lounge pants, lazy day joggers, soft as Zoom-ready t-shirts and polos, Tommy John has you covered. Not just underwear, they got a full set of clothing that your dad will like, that all of us will like. So get your order in now. To be honest, with shipping and Corona and riots, who knows how long it's going to take. So stop what you're doing, put the order in right now so it gets there in time for Father's Day. They're so confident in their underwear that if you don't want the first pair, you'll get a full refund with the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guaranteed. Deliver dad to comfort store, 25% off when you go to TommyJohn.com/rundown. That's TommyJohn.com/rundown. Page views is out. Brandon fucking Walker is in. And it's yet another day of craziness that we're going to try to talk to you and break it down and do it in like a respectful way. I think that the difference in today is it's all manifesting in the form of this Instagram blackout, which I wrote a blog on and I talked about it on the radio. So I'll give the floor to you guys a little bit. But my thoughts are that this was well-intentioned and a good idea, and it has some positive ramifications. But I also think some negative ones that they didn't intend, and it kind of turned into more of a gimmick and a clusterfuck than they ever really thought. So your guys' thoughts, did you participate in it? Do you believe in it? And what do you think on the whole thing?
Yeah, I'll start. I did participate in it. It's funny because like 2 days ago, if you had told me this was happening, I would have laughed at it and been like, come on, dude, like this is so pandering and whatever, just trying to check a box. Mm-hmm. But our conversation with Arian Foster on Sunday, that was on Monday as part of my take, definitely changed my perspective on it, in that it's not about you. It's about like, we're in a position where people look up to us, people listen to us, people care what our opinions are. So if you are simply, from my perspective, if I'm doing it and it simply can make a handful of people be like, hey, you know what? Big Cat has my back and I know where he stands on this, then it's important, because people actually care what we think about. They're invested in us. They're invested in our lives. A lot of people, one of the biggest things that you always hear about our company is that people feel like they know us. They're friends with us. You know what I mean? We're the guys that you can sit down and have a beer with. You invest time listening to us every single week. So the simple act of being like, hey, you know what? I got your back. I know this is important, is way, way bigger than being like, oh, well, you're just pandering. And you know what? I don't know about you, Kevin, but the reaction that I've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive. Of course, there's still some people in there who are still trying to goat me into an argument and be like, what about this? What about that? Or you're such a cuck, or you're just trying to check boxes.
Stool and all that shit, yeah.
That's like maybe a 1% of the responses.
Which is, I hate to admit it, but I thought it was going to be worse. And
I did too.
It's pretty encouraging, because to be honest about it, from my point of view, not that this is what's most important, but it was like nerve-wracking to go all in on this topic, because you lose followers and you lose fans and people might not listen, and maybe a few, but I think for the most part, it's been, if not like, I think people are listening more and following more and more invested, because I think we're on the right side of history.
And it's not even a political issue in my mind. It's simply a community, like people that you live with, people you work with, people you talk to, friends, name however many people that personally, like they are simply asking for support. And that's not politics. That's supporting friends. That's supporting, colleagues. That's supporting people that are basically screaming out like, we need your help. So I don't see that as political whatsoever. And if you see it as political, I think you're kind of missing the point. And I was a little, I'll be honest, I was hoping Dave was gonna be on the rundown today, because I would have told him this, but I thought his message kind of missed the mark when he was like, this is something we should talk about in 6 months. It's like, no, it's right now. It's right now. And it's.
I think he meant, continue it. And
of course.
Right now is
no. Yeah. The people who like, I'm just going to post something and then be done with it. That's wrong. Obviously that's very wrong. And that's stupid. And I'm sure there are people who are doing that, but to be like, we got to have, not business as usual, but like, we got to keep going. Like, I don't know. It's okay for one day to be like, hey, I'm going to take a step back and be like, it's not about me. It's not about
I think that's well argued. I think that's well argued and well reasoned, and everything you said makes a lot of sense. I personally chose not to do it because it felt on the front side like it's kind of a back padding thing. It felt like it is something I am doing publicly. I'm using this Instagram that I often use with jokes, and I do this, and I'm doing this to say, hey, everybody look at me. I get it. I'm with everybody else. That's what I thought on the front end. The more I think about it, the more I go through with it, is the most valuable thing that Brandon Walker can do right now, and this is from my personal experience, is I've just taken this time to not really work and not really do anything and not put these funny things out. And I'm just thinking about, this is very personal, but why it took me until George Floyd to realize there was this big of a fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking why it took me to seeing a guy's life escape him by a knee in his throat. Why didn't I recognize it in 2014? Why didn't I? And to me, to cheapen that into a black screen on Instagram would be to lie to the people and say, you know what? I'm with this. I'm with this movement. Look at me. I can't do that. The time I've spent with myself today just thinking about what this shit means has absolutely floored me. And I hope, whether it's come from a black screen, from whatever people want to put out there, I hope that people are actually thinking about what's going on in this country and not just waiting for it to end.
Right.
I think that's a powerful shift from you, Brandon. But I also think, I don't think you should be hard on yourself for when you have the realization.
I think whether I'm hard on myself or not, I think there comes a time right now in a country where its citizens need to be introspectively hard on themselves, right. And that will help. Hey, if they don't, that's up to each individual. There are people watching this that, frankly, your frame of mind's been in the right spot. I don't know. That's up to you and your mind. I just know that this is a great time in our history to stop and fucking think.
And Brandon, I agree with you. I agree with Kevin too. You shouldn't be hard on yourself. I think more than anything, like, the uncomfortableness of this past week has been striking to me. Like, it's hard to talk about these things. And you know why? Because because it doesn't affect us. And it's basically saying, let's talk about an issue that doesn't affect us day to day. And it's okay to be like, hey, this is hard. And it's okay to be like, hey, I'm beaten up about it. Like, I'm ripped up inside. I've watched the news every single night and just been depressed. And that's a good thing, I think, because you're right, Brandon. Like, it hasn't been the same in the past, where it's like this feels a little different, where it's really reaching more people, and like more people are saying, you know what, just shut up and listen to the people who are trying to tell you what's wrong.
I will go a step further. I do think there are some of the people that we need to listen to, their message is kind of getting blurred over, maybe obfuscated. They're kind of getting, I think, the peaceful protests that have turned into riotous and illegal activities at night. I think there are some people that just want to watch the world burn, and they are tearing down cities that shouldn't be torn down right now. I really think the people that are protesting George Floyd peacefully, and the black people I know that have reached out to me, they don't want to tear this country apart. They just want this country to stop tearing them apart.
Yep.
That's where we're at. And so when I see New York City burn at night, there's people taking it too far that are ruining the message.
Yeah, and I think that it's okay to just be like, listen, the people, the going out, saying looters are wrong is a really easy way to kind of just not talk about the real issue here. Yeah, it's so easy to just say, well, yeah, look at the looters. Like, yeah, dude, we all agree kind of that people shouldn't be just starting fires and ripping apart businesses. Stay focused. It's not about that.
But the looters are ruining the message.
I'm getting a little sick of having to explain, like, the amount of people who will send me a video of, like, the cop who got hit with a brick or the guy who got hit by the car and be like, oh, these are your boys. Like, no, man, the same way that you can support cops but say that George Floyd is an asshole, I'm supporting the protests but saying that the looters and the rioters are an asshole. So let's fucking stop wasting time with that, and let's talk about the middle, where it's much more reasonable and it's much more effective and potentially.
And here's another part about that, Kevin. Like, the looters, now obviously not all of them, but if you loot a business, if you burn down a business, if you do that, you're most likely going to jail, right? Like, you're most likely going to jail. What about the other side? When a peaceful protester gets shot with a rubber bullet,
Right.
nothing's happening to
That
like
scene
that's
yeah.
why people are angry. That's where the anger comes from. That there's a disconnect of law and order, and then this law and order doesn't has to play everywhere.
And I don't agree and don't condone it, but I've been saying all along, you can understand why
Correct.
people's brains say we have to take it to this level because nothing else is working. Now, to go back to the Instagram thing, I'm all for the solidarity and the message. It's all well and good. I just think that it ended up being harmful with using the hashtag, which everybody used Black Lives Matter to talk about charities and organizing and fundraisers, and now all you're seeing if you search that hashtag is black boxes. That was bad. I also think that there probably is some self-serving going on, but more importantly than that, I think that the message was post the box, but then continue to post the videos and the conversations and the pictures that are really fucking people up and making them realize how bad it is. And I think people thought the message was just to stop. So I think you should post and keep moving. I also think the original message was white people should stop and let black people have the forum for a day.
Correct.
That got convoluted. So I think it was a very good idea that was just executed poorly, and not of anybody's fault. It's impossible to organize.
But you know what? You know what? I still think that it has an intended effect that has been good. Like if you go to Instagram right now, it's not a normal day. And that's kind of important.
At least we're not getting the asses and the puppies. And
right. This is not a normal day. It feels different. You see just black box after black box after black box. That's I think the most important part is like it's basically saying, hey, stop for a second. Stop for a second. You're not going to get the same fucking junk that you get that you mindlessly scroll Instagram for a day. For one day, you can handle that.
I think the only thing I would have done differently, just a simple change, is I think it should have been like a picture of George Floyd. I think it should have been something a little more specific that reminds people of the why. Like, no, a black box is kind of a cop-out. It's like, no, post this dude, this black man's face who was murdered. Post that. Not a gimmicky box that's like, ooh, you get the symbolism. Post something concrete. But I know I'm nitpicking, and I know at this point you're starting to argue with people on your side. So that's stupid. And, it's –
I also – one last thing is that I think it's okay, like our culture is very much like be a leader, not a follower. It's okay to be a white guy and be like, I'm a follower right now. Like I'm taking my cues from everyone else. I don't have to be like out there just saying like,
I want to, sometimes I tell everyone to shut up and listen. And then people are like, use your platform for good. I'm like, I don't fucking know. So
it's tough. It's difficult. And it's good that it's difficult though. I think that's a good thing that this is like a hard thing. It's been the only thing kind of on my mind. Even, like there was a few people mad at me that I'm not fucking playing video games tonight. It's like, I'm gonna play video games tomorrow. It's okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, just to speak back to what Brandon said a minute ago, like, we all should have realized it earlier. We should have realized it with Eric Garner. We should have realized it with Breonna Taylor, everybody. But if you realize it now, that counts, man. Like that's the point is they're doing this and sacrificing and risking like their lives in some cases to get people to change. So if you do it today or, tomorrow, just the sooner the fucking better. So good on anybody who's making the change no matter when it's occurring. To lighten it up a little bit and just kind of get back to what we do normally, proposed baseball idea out there, which I thought was a little more legit, but now I think I'm starting to come to learn it's kind of yet again another smoke and mirrors move by the owners. The players want like 114 games worth of play and pay. The owners are countering with 50 to 60, I believe. I would think that would logically mean let's settle somewhere in the middle and have like an 81 game season like we've been saying all along. But it
seems like a standard negotiation.
What's that?
It seems like a standard negotiation. One goes high, one goes low.
Well, it's clear what the owners are doing because the players like, we're not going to take less than prorated salaries. So the owners are like, okay, great. Well, we'll play 30 games. Right.
That's what I didn't realize at first. I thought this was more mutually agreed upon, that they were like, it's going to be funky, but we're going to have a sprint to the finish. But what I'm learning is like, well, if we're going to take, out of your wallet this way and you want to allow it, we'll just take it out of your wallet this way. And so these motherfucking owners, dude, these guys just won't give an inch.
Yeah, well, we're finding out every step of this negotiation. We're finding out everything this side says, this side says. I really truthfully believe we're going to have baseball. They'll get to a spot where they both will realize you just can't not have baseball when other sports are staying. So I know we're finding out every single inch of this fight, but it will end up. We'll have an opening day. We'll have a closing day. We'll have baseball, right?
I'm excited about a 50-game series season because you know what? Like, this is nothing about this season will be normal already. Like, if there's no fans, if there's
Normal's gone. Normal's gone in 2020.
So why not just have it be fucking like? Could you imagine the intensity of a 50-game season?
Every game fucking matters. Every start huge.
And I'm not saying that just because the Cubs would have been in first place last year if they would have played a 50 game.
Well, I mean, listen.
Jared tweeted that out. He's like, "Here's where it was, 50 games out." And I was like, "Fuck yes."
If you're a star and you come out in a 30-game slump, a 1-month slump, that you could in a normal season you could rectify that and have your numbers by the end. You're a bum forever,
dude. Imagine pitching rotations being like, let's just have our starters every 4 days. Like,
just go. You're only gonna have to do 14 starts.
Right, exactly. Like that would be incredible to watch. Like which guy is a true hoss and can just go out there every 4 days and shove.
I mean, as a Mets fan, like less games is like sent from heaven. If the season was shorter, the Mets would potentially have like a fucking dynasty in the Mets.
Now, would you be a little bit though sad because with a 50-game season, you can't really console?
Well,
you console like the first weekend.
Listen, I'll find a way, bro. I can always find a way to console.
You're gonna console in spring training?
Would you? Will you like consider this a real champion though? Like,
I think you have to. In every aspect of life, we are adjusting to 2020. This isn't a labor stoppage. This isn't a work stoppage. This isn't something that they've done to themselves. This was a pandemic. NBA's dealing with it. Everybody's dealing with it. We're going to have champions as they come.
I'll say, Kevin, I think 60-plus games, yes. 50 games, definitely.
I mean, come on now.
Definitely would put a little bit of an asterisk because you know what will happen is there'll be hold on, Brandon. There'll be a team that will come out really hot and then start floundering. You know what I mean? Like, remember the Mariners were like 13-2 last year, and they ended up with the worst record in baseball. Like, imagine if a team comes out and they're 30-5, and then they lose like 14 of their last 15 games, but get in the playoffs. People would be like, "What the fuck?" Like, they would never have lasted 162 games.
It's a game of streaks, and like you're really limiting it to like 1.5 streaks almost. You know what I mean? It's like just one chunk of the season where unless the Mets win it, then it's totally legitimate.
Right. The haters will put an asterisk on it, but if the Cubs win it, you won't.
Yeah,
you won't care.
Oh, of course.
But I think it's logical to say, like, when did the Cubs win that second World Series? Oh, it was like that short year. It's gonna be like that. I don't think that we're gonna be like, this doesn't count, but I think it'll be in the conversation every time you speak about the 2020 champion. But from just a fan and an interest point of view, and this is actually probably going to be good for baseball to get non-fans to watch, where it's just like swing for the fences, blow your arm out because you only got to do this for like 2.5 months.
I also think it will be based on who ends up winning, because if a team that was supposed to be good anyway wins, like if they did the NBA playoffs right now and the Rockets won, everyone would be like, come on. Like, the Rockets were not going to fucking beat the Lakers in LA, like in a 7-game series. But if they somehow won, you're like, all right, well, this is fucking weird, and we'll put an asterisk. But if the Lakers or the Clippers or the Bucks win the NBA title, you're like, all right, well, they were probably going to be at least in the conversation anyway.
There were two strike-shortened seasons in the last 40 years, and nobody talks about the Dodgers in 81 or the Braves in 95 winning bastardized championship.
How short were they?
I think 1981 was very short. 1995, I believe, was 112 games. I could have that.
112 to me felt like, that 112, you're still getting that long run where there's ups and downs and kind of the cream rise to the top. I don't know about 80. It was 88. You said
81. 81. The Dodgers.
In 98, they played 144 games. 144 games. So that's pretty close.
98.
Yeah, 98. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
I mean, sorry, 95.
95. Okay.
95, they played 144 games. That's a real season.
I mean, I'm just looking up the 81 season right here. So that was 110. So, like, a 50-game season really hasn't happened before. That's
right.
And I don't think it's going to happen here. It's not going to happen here. It's going to be – I think it'll be 75, 80 games.
I don't know, Brandon.
I think you're fine. I think that number, like a 5 handle, just
They're
seems.
not going to sign off on 50 games, Dan.
But no, they don't get that's the part of the deal. So the reason why the owners are able to do this, when they signed the deal in March, the deal was simply that the players get prorated salary for however many games they play,
Right.
and the owners get to decide how many games they play. So this is the owners flexing back, just like the players said, we're not reopening the negotiation. You're paying us the prorated deal. The owners are like, okay, we're not reopening negotiation. Right. We're playing the deal we set.
You got the percentage. We got total games, and that's what
right.
I still don't know the players step on the field at 50 games. I still think they say.
I think they have to because they get paid. They get paid prorated salaries. Do you think they would say we're punting on this entire season?
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately they'll meet in the middle.
But Brandon, then it becomes on the players. Then it does become that the players are walking away from baseball.
And I still believe that the CBA looming like next year or 2 years from now is really affecting this, because I don't think either side wants to set a bad precedent. For this season, fine. But if all of a sudden you're negotiating for the next like 20 years and people are citing what you did for this season, then you kind of fuck yourself and players to come. So this is where, Brandon, I know that it started by the pandemic, but I do think it's going to end up being more of a work stoppage issue and a labor issue, because I think otherwise they'd probably almost be back on the field by now. I also believe that if it all plays out, I think October has a chance to be NHL, NBA, and now Major League Baseball playoffs.
Yeah, well, I think November would be Major League Baseball playoffs, because in the owner's proposal, I think it went all the way to October 31st of the season.
Okay. So either way, though, you're getting like a small window, and then obviously the beginning of the NFL season, if all things go according to plan, where you're getting like sports Armageddon in a way that we've never seen before, and it would be the Masters wake up for it sucked the past couple months, but now it's fucking awesome.
Yep. Got the Masters in November. You got the Derby on Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something once we get cranked up.
So maybe the world will kind of even its way out, at least in the sports sense, and give fans what they want. Obviously, much bigger issues and worse things to worry about, but sports is part of culture and does bring a lot of people some normalcy. So
we need it. We fucking need it.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's just a distraction for a little bit, although you don't want to distract too much from the cause. I feel like everything I say, I got to be like, but
it is so funny the people who are like stick to sports, like, dude, there are no sports right now. There's literally no sports. I don't know what you want me to say. This is the trending topic in America.
Right. If you're not talking about it at this point, you're just an asshole. So I believe that's it. If there's anything else you want to run in there after show or the like. Hey, who won Frank the Tank versus you, Brandon? You won?
Brandon won on like a 4-foot table. You should have seen. Did you see Frank?
I didn't go on a 4-foot table. I have a 6-foot table, and I won. I had the best performance in the entire first round, Kevin.
So according to Brandon, did you see Frank? Kevin,
I saw like one shot of him.
He had two cameras, and he was maybe 3 feet away, and he was shooting like this. He was just going like that. It was so fucking funny.
I love it. The fucking rookie of the year floated.
Oh, it was great.
Did you see at the end though? He did the worm, except his first camera went off, so you couldn't see him do the worm. You could only hear him worming on the ground.
Brandon also has I think Brandon has a pretty good chance. We're playing each other tomorrow, but he's got a pretty good chance of winning this whole thing because that was the first beer pong game he ever played. No bad habits.
Oh, wow. Never played.
He doesn't know how – he's never been in a slump. He's never seen –
Or like, when you're like, oh, I wish I didn't hit that cup. Or like, should I rack on this? All these things that get inside your head.
Or like when the one cup's left and it's like you miss it and you're like, now it's in your head. You can never get it.
I'm just throwing a ball in the cup. That's all I'm doing.
It's like just see ball, hit ball. Just see ball, throw ball. Interesting. I got Rowan next on Friday, which is it's a heavy duty second round for me. So we'll see.
Oh boy!
I mean, when was the last time you played prior to this, Dan?
It was actually the video with the Neighbors cast at Cam's in Champaign. Right. That was it. That was the last time I played.
I mean, I feel like it's
years ago,
decade since I played. And every time I did play, I was like, I don't really want to be doing this. I want to just go sit on the couch,
The only tip I'd give you, as I've already played my first round, is definitely make sure you have a couple beers beforehand.
Yeah, you got to get loose. I also, when I was playing Tyler, I tried to like not rack when I could because I was like, no, I'm gonna save it for my this and that. No, I need the cups as close to fucking together as possible at all times.
Wait, so you play Roan Friday? Friday might be SEC championship game too. Friday afternoon, right after that.
Friday.
And it might be Tennessee versus Ole Miss.
Well, that's cheating.
And I actually I would say there's only like a 3% of my brain is thinking this, but if I just intentionally threw it just horribly just to watch Brandon be upset, like I did, like
throw away your national title just to bother me with Ole Miss. They're cheating.
Again, it's only 3%. It's only 3%. It's only 3%.
That's too much of a percentage. We don't want those douchebags to win under any circumstance.
If it was me, the glory of winning a fake video game championship is not even close to winning you for the next year.
He's got 60,000 people watching, Kevin.
Yes, exactly. 60,000 people who's going to be like, go make fun of Brandon Walker.
Tennessee hasn't won anything in 22 years. This is their biggest achievement in 2 decades.
If this were, no, he is. He's not really. If it was Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah, if this were season 3 or 2 of my career, I'd probably throw it. But now I'm so hot. I'm season 5. I got to win a title eventually.
Right.
I hear you.
It's my best chance. It's my best team. JoJo Smalls.
But honestly, tune in. 97% chance Dan wins, 3% chance he loses.
And
no. 97% chance he tries to win. Right. There's not a 97% chance he wins the SEC championship game. It's 60.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I feel like he's kind of good at this now.
I've gotten a lot better, but I still am prone to – well, that's the thing is people are now mad because I've gotten better to the point where the games I should win, I win. Right. Like the Missouri game last night, if that was a month and a half ago, I would have melted down and lost that game. Instead, I was like, I'm better than them. I'm going to fucking destroy them. I was down early and I still destroyed them. So people get mad because I don't lose those type of games, and they're like, this isn't fun to watch. It's like not every game. Alabama was an overtime classic.
Incredible.
Classic game.
That's like watching college football. You're going to get Alabama versus LSU is going to be awesome, but Alabama versus Appalachian State is going to be a 50-point massacre.
I'm going to whoop Vanderbilt tomorrow. I'm going to put 70 on Vanderbilt, and people are going to be like, it's boring. It's like, guess what? Boring, it doesn't matter. It's still a win.
Real life.
And if people think it's boring, even though the chance of you losing might not be there, the chance of you doing something remarkably stupid is still there.
Always high. Always high.
Very high.
Very, very high.
A loss, but that interception or that one
play.
Oh, it's directly correlated. The minute I start spouting off that I'm good at this game, it's almost imminent that I will have an interception. Yeah. It's just the humble pie comes very quickly.
I love it. All right, boys. Good discussion. Everybody keep it moving and shut up and listen.
Yep. All right. See you guys.